Hi friends, and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today I'm going to share with all of my book-loving friends the books that I hope to read, the books that I hope to get to by the end of the year 2022. Let's talk books. All right, you guys, this is a super ambitious endeavor. I am going to share with you 13 books, and technically more than 13 because there's a couple of series mixed in there. These are books that I hope to get to by the end of this year. Am I going to be heartbroken? Maybe a little bit for some. Others, whatevs. We can get to them next year prayerfully. So yeah, let's do this. So I already own two of these books, and the first one is The Guncle. I thought I would get to this book in September. I did not, and I was a little disappointed in myself. However, being the mood reader that I am, I just wasn't feeling it for September. I don't know. Honestly, this may not even be a fall-winter read. It's just giving me all the feels for warm weather, and so it may not happen. But I just love the synopsis. I love the idea of the book. I already love the characters. So I'm just really super excited to get to know these characters. And so I really want to make this happen. We'll see if it does. Who knows? Then Olive, from a book Olive, got me super duper hyped on This Is What It Sounds Like by Susan Rogers. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am a huge Prince fan. If you look at this artwork, on the cover artwork is just totally Prince, 1980s, Purple Rain, Raspberry Beret, and obviously from the title, This Is What It Sounds Like When Doves Cry, is giving me Prince vibes. I am excited to learn from Olive that Susan Rogers actually worked for Prince in the production realm of his musical ventures. So I love music through and through. This book kind of helps you dive into the science. We have a neuroscientist, I believe his name is O.G. Ogos, that really helps us understand why we are drawn to the music that we're drawn to. I am not really into the science part, but I think psychologically I can tell that I have a type when it comes to music. I listen to a variety of genres and musical eras, but there are some commonalities, and so I just kind of want to confirm those things and learn more. So I hope to get to this one by the end of the year. Finlay Donovan is killing it. Just moved me. I loved it. It was one of my favorite books of the entire year. And so, of course, I want to finish the series. So the sequel is Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead. And then there's another one, Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. I can't wait to reunite with these characters. Finlay and her babysitter, Nanny, are just delightful. They're hilarious. The irony of all of the things they get into is just so entertaining. So I hope to get to that series. I'm not typically a book series reader, but there are a couple of series here that I've fallen in love with, and I hope to finish by the end of this year. Speaking of which, the second series that I hope to complete this year is the Wedding Date series by Jasmine Guillory. I love me some Jasmine Guillory. I have read 3 of her books. I am hoping to finish the rest of that series, which I believe is 3 or 4 more books from the Wedding Date series. These characters cross over. You do not have to read them in order, but I am finding that reading them in order is truly a joy because you see those characters crossing over and finding love in their own experience. And I like that about this book series. So I hope to finish that book series before I read another one of her books that I hope to get to by the end of the year, and it is Drunk on Love. Drunk on Love is kind of reminds me of Beyonce's Crazy in Love, Dangerously in Love. You know, it's in, not on, but it's love. So there you have it. I have no idea what this book is about synopsis-wise. I don't know anything about the characters. I just know it's Jasmine Guillory and romance. So Jasmine Guillory plus romance equals a good time for La Rosa. I am a huge fan and lover of Sesame Street. My favorite lovey, my favorite stuffed animal growing up was Big Bird, and Big Bird traveled with me everywhere. Bert and Ernie were like my faves. I felt like they were my friends, and I just wanted to have a twin bed moved into their room and like to just be sandwiched in between them and live with them for the rest of my life. I thought that would be a party and a great time. So Muppets in Moscow, y'all. Like, I really want to read that book. I also want to watch the documentary Street Gang. There are some fun facts that have been kind of like trickling down into my ears from friends. My friend Katie brought to my attention that a black man was instrumental in creating Sesame Street, which I find very interesting and inspiring given the time, the era that Sesame Street launched. So I'm learning all these fun facts and interesting facts about Sesame Street, and Muppets in Moscow is a book that I think will just help me be nostalgic and at the same time appreciative of Sesame Street and all those who made Sesame Street a reality for us young folks. So what was it like to bring the Muppets to Russia? I'd love to know. I feel like a lot of these books came from Olive's channel, a book Olive, which no surprise because I'm slightly obsessed with her channel. I really want to read Butts, a Backstory. It's a nonfiction book about bums and, you know, the cultural significance of our tushes and some science as well. And I don't know, being a sister, I'm really interested in learning more about our buttocks because, you know, I grew up at a time in my teens where the ideal look was like little twig stick figures. You know, Janet Jackson was super thin and had like the 4-pack, 6-pack. And then I have had the joy of watching society fall in love with really the more natural, I say this so generally because trust me, black women, we come in all shapes and sizes, but we do tend to have some curves and some, you know, junk in the trunk. I don't call it junk, I call it gems in the trunk. So I just see society kind of shifting with their views of our bottoms, and I want to learn more about them. So, Butts, a Backstory, I hope to get to you by the end of the year. I have to talk about the elephant in the room. That title, Butts, a Backstory, can we just give that title some snaps? I mean, how clever is that? Okay, now I'm ready to move on. The Beartown series by Fredrik Backman. My in-person book club is going to be reading The Winners. If we haven't already, I'm a little behind on our schedule. And so I really want to get to the first 2 books in that series before reading The Winners. And it just seems like it's a warm, cozy reading experience. So I hope to get to that soon by the end of the year. It would be nice. People are telling me that they think I would be digging Fredrik Backman's work. So we shall see. American Sirens is another book that Olive brought to my attention, and this book is talking about the beginning ages and stages of medics and EMTs. The paramedic EMT life is one that I got to see up close and personal growing up. My wonderful big brother, who I feel like I haven't talked about on this channel, which is so strange, because he's my heart. I love him so much. I talk about him all the time everywhere else. So my brother was someone who just fell in love with serving and helping others through being an EMT and a paramedic. And growing up, we had a scanner in our home. And so each town has its own signal. And my brother could sleep through all the other ambulance calls, like the 911 calls, which it wasn't 911 at the time. He could sleep through it, but he knew that tone. He knew the tone for our fire department EMS, and he would hop out of bed, go on that call in the middle of the night, and still get up and go to school later that day. And so I saw that, I lived that through him, and he has since, he went on to grow up and become a physician assistant. And I love the family that he had in the EMS fire department crew. They are much like my brothers and sisters as well. And so American Sirens is about those beginning stages, like I said, of, EMT paramedics and Black EMT paramedics in Pittsburgh. And my brother actually was a paramedic in Pittsburgh later on. So he started off in West Virginia, and when he moved to Pittsburgh was a paramedic here as well. So I really want to read about that. I think it would bring me closer to my brother. I mean, we're already super close, but I would love to share some things about that experience that maybe he doesn't know, and we could chat it up. I don't think he's a big reader. He's like more of a TV watcher, but you never know. Maybe I'll give him the audiobook or let him borrow my book, which means I won't see it ever again. But oh well, I love them. So there are two authors that I fell in love with over the pandemic whenever I was reunited with books in 2020. And Celeste Ning, who wrote Little Fires Everywhere, is one of those authors, and she has a book coming out called Our Missing Hearts. I really want to reunite with her wonderful prose, and I'm not even quite sure what that book's about, but I definitely want to get to it by the end of the year because I just want to feel nostalgic. Yes, I do want to go back to 2020 because that reading year for me was stellar. So in that sense, in that regard, I'd like to travel back in time. Another book that I'm hoping will give me some of those wonderful vibes that I had during my time of reading with joy in 2020 is Now Is Not the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson. He wrote There's Nothing to See Here, or I think it's just Nothing to See Here, which I was so entertained by. I believe it was the first book around the pandemic that I felt like, oh, I'm back. Books, I'm back, baby. Let's do this. Let's get on this reading journey. And so I love his writing. It's very clever. It's entertaining, character driven typically. So I'm looking forward to reading that book. It's also a book that I have no idea what the heck it's about, but I love the author, so I'll give it a go. All right, friends, so that wraps up all of the books that I hope to read by the end of 2022. What books are you hoping to dive into before the end of the year? I would love to know, so hop over in the comments and let's chat about it. Also, check out what some of my favorite reads of the year have been thus far with this quarterly favorite read video right here. And until next time, happy reading. Peace.